In this next video, I'm going to be explaining a little bit about adding ducts and pipes. Ducts connect mechanical equipment, and air terminals and pipes connect mechanical equipment to the hydronic supply, such as this example here we've got in the 3D. There are various shapes and sizes that can be used for both, for regular and flex duct and pipe. By using the connectors in the equipment and the air terminals, you can quickly attach the ducts and pipes and have the software automatically calculate any differences in heights, as you can see here. Ducts and pipes can be drawn in plan, such as this one, in elevation sections, such as what we've got here, and it can also be drawn in 3D. To get the ducts and pipes at the right height, it is recommended that you start from the mechanical equipment, so in other words, start from this air handling unit. Fittings between changes of heights or sizes are automatically applied as you model the elements. Now, just one note on this: sometimes you might find that you end up getting an error message. Say for example, we try and connect a duct on here. We draw out, we're using a guide line here, the blue dotted line, that we're aligned, and then we try and do this, and you can see that we get an error message straight away, and it's telling us that there's not enough room to place the required fittings. The reason being is obviously the height of this duct and the height of the grill are too close to then put in a bend for this particular type of duct. So we need to just be mindful of this, and we might need to do some adjustments, which we'll talk about in the future. If you need to lay the runs but the types and sizes have not yet been determined, you can place placeholders, these items here. These can then be converted into standard ducts and pipes at a later stage. Now, if you're wondering what a placeholder is, a placeholder for ducts and pipes provides the ability to put these placeholder elements into a system when the exact design of the layout is not yet known. Using the placeholders, ducts and pipes can allow for a well-connected system while the design is still unknown, and then which can then be elaborated in the final design at a later stage. Now, before doing any ducts or pipe design installation, you need to review and modify the mechanical settings to suit your project or the office standards. These settings control the angles at which the ducts and pipes can be drawn, and the default types, offset, size and pressure drops calculation methods. Now, to find this, we need to make sure that we're in the systems here, and then we just go down to where it says mechanical and click on this here, and this takes us to the mechanical settings. Here you can see there's the duct settings and also the pipe settings. So if we look on ducts and angles, we can set up and choose whether we want to use these or not, untick them, tick them, whichever we need to use, and various other calculations that we can use and what we want and what we don't want, etc. And it also gives the likes of this one here conversions. We can set on the main branch, the main line, and then also the branch of how much we need to use, default height to default types of duct. So as every time we place duct, it will default to these settings unless we change them. But also, just a note, if we were to connect, as I mentioned before, it's easier to connect straight from the equipment. We will take on the information that the equipment has. So for example, this air handling unit here may have a default height of 2850, not 2750, and it also could have a slightly different type of duct. So if we connect straight from the equipment, it will apply those settings to the ductwork that we put in, not the default that we've got here. If we were to just draw freehand the duct, then it will take the default settings that we have in our mechanical settings. And again, as you can see, this is for supply air. We can set exhaust air to be slightly different, or even return air. We can each set into each different classification. Duct settings are set by the project and can be included in the templates, or we can import them into a project from a previous project using the transfer project standards. Okay, so let's continue on with this. Adding ducts and pipes. Well, the process of adding various types of ducts or pipe is essentially the same whether you're drawing standard duct, flex or placeholder elements. And there are several ways to start the commands, such as using the duct, placeholders, flexi duct, etc. We've also then got the pipes. So these are the various different ones. We can also start off by, as I've mentioned, we can start off from the equipment itself. So we just click on this mechanical equipment. As you can see, we've got various connections already established on this item. So for example, if this is the it says out here, this is the supply air. So this is the as you can see when we look at these grills, the supply air is this one here with the cross right the way through it, and the return air is just a single line diagonal through there. So as you can see here, there's a quick guide. That's the return air, so it's coming back into the unit, and this is the supply, it's going out of the unit there. And then these are obviously the electrical, and this is the hydronic flow and return, and then the condensate drainage out. So we can click on this, create duct, by clicking on the symbol, and as I said, it takes the settings established within the equipment itself. So it's automatically chosen the width of 300 by 320, and it's given us the middle elevation of 3080. Now just to talk on that a little bit more about the elevation. The middle elevation, or offset, or sometimes it's known, is the height above the level that we're currently working in. So as you can see here, the reference level is floor 1, and the middle elevation is the middle of this duct. So this duct is has a height of 320 mil. So half of that is obviously 160. So to the middle of that duct, it's telling us that it's going to be placed at 3080 mil above level 1. So as we draw that, that's the height it will be. Now, as you can see on this properties here, the top elevation, the middle elevation, and bottom elevation. The middle, obviously, is the middle of the duct. The bottom speaks for itself, as well as the top. Now, the reason why you've got different options is you might want to place this and go across the likes of this light fitting. So if we go here, here, and here, if you know the height of this light fitting, you can set your duct to make sure that the bottom elevation is clear of the light. So if you know that the light is 2900, then obviously in this instance 20 mil above that is clearing the light, so we're not going to get any clashes. Similarly, with regards to the top elevation, if you've got other pipe work such as cold water or hot water, etc., and they're above the same area, and they're set at 3250, for example, you can make sure that the placement of the duct is based on the top height, and you can make sure that you are clearing the hazard that you've got to cross, the obstacle that you've got to cross, etc. So going back to here, as I said, you can click on the item and then click on what you want to do, and it automatically places the duct at the settings based on what you want it to do. Also, you can just right click on the unit itself and click on draw duct. such as this. Say for example you've got your duct that's here and you want to continue on, you can extend it by dragging it along, but that's all it does is drag it. If you wanted to continue drawing your duct, what you'd need to do is you need to hover near the marker point here and right click until you get the draw duct symbol there, and then you can continue on to draw your duct this way. If you wanted to draw your duct without actually connecting to equipment yet, then as I say, you just need to go to your duct, choose your width, choose your height, and then choose your elevation, and then you can freely draw your duct. Now at the moment here, because of our settings that we chose earlier on in our mechanical settings, duct conversion, etc., the system type, supply air, is what comes first. So when you're drawing your duct here, it's automatically supplied. This is why it's coming up in blue. If you wanted to change this, what you're best off doing is, before you actually start drawing it, you've already got your heights and your width and your elevations, you scroll down and change your system type till you come to return air, and then as you're drawing it, you've got your return air in and it's automatically at the right system type. As I showed you before briefly, you can use the guide. So if I wanted to connect up to this return air grill over here, by extending it out, you'll see that I'm starting to get the dotted blue line to indicate that I'm aligned with the connection point of that grill, so I can go up to this instance here. Now if I draw this up to there, it will tell us again there's not enough room to place. So what you're going to need to do in this instance is you're going to need to, as you can see from here, the duct coming out of the air handling unit, it really needs to go higher up before it will connect into to give us this fitting radius bend on it. So you'd need to put a cross section in and then finish it off that way. View section like this, change it to fine mode, and as you can see it's way too low here. So best way to do that is we want to go up in height, as you can see here. Go back to this position here, that's a 3080, so we're going to draw the duct from here, draw duct, but before we actually physically draw it, we're going to change this to say 3550 for example. And now we draw the duct. Now you can see there's a lot more lines here, which I'll explain in a minute, and then we can go in and connect, and we can see that it's didn't give us an error message this time. Now if we see what's actually happened when we've done this, you can see that we've gone here from this 3080, and then what I told it to do was to change it to 3550, and then it automatically put in the relevant fittings in to get us to the height, and then obviously that's sufficient height to then take us to connect up into that grill, such as we can see in this 3D view here. If you're wanting to connect up and use FlexiDuct, duct lined up to here, I'd finish it off like so this, and then in the systems, FlexiDuct, connect from that to our duct. As I say, connecting it from, just like we did, we started from the equipment such as the air handling unit here. What I did there was I connected from the grill and then connect to the duct, That way it chooses the correct settings, and if we look at the cross section of that, you can see that it gives a nice connection that once it's established. Okay, and the last part of this particular video is pipes. Pipes exactly the same way with the duct. Draw your pipe connect up from your equipment, draw across, put it to the height that you need to do, and then continue on along till you get to connect up the remaining of your pipes. But in this instance, the likes of this supply and flow and return on the hydronic side of this pipe, then we're going to be drawing 2 pipes, so we only really need to draw 1. There's no need to spend time drawing 2 pipes following one another. We can use this parallels pipe command, and all we need to do is draw our first one that we're happy with and make sure that we are happy with it in the placement and the heights, etc. Let me just close these ones down so as we can blow this up. So what we use is we use this parallels pipe command. We click on this, and then it gives us these options. Horizontal, how many we want horizontal, and how many we want vertical. What this means is in this mode we're going to have 2 pipes side by side, and it's going to be the same height. If we were to change this to vertical, what it would mean is we'd end up having 4 pipes. 2 by 2 is 4. At the moment we've got 1 by 2, which would give us 2 pipes. And obviously we need to set our distance of how far we want the pipes to be apart from one another. Obviously horizontal, since that's all we're interested in, is 50. The vertical offset you can ignore, you can leave this whatever the default is, or we can change this to 0. Because we're not really going to apply the vertical in this instance. That would come into it when we've got a figure higher than number 1 here. So all we need to do is on this, and again we can do this in 3D, 2D or section views, is we go along and we can, if we come in from the right hand side, our pipe will appear on the right, as you can see the dotted blue line. If we come in from the reverse, the other opposite side, it will put our pipe on the opposite side. So just bear that in mind, especially on 3D. If you're doing 2D, it should be relatively easy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click on this, then we're going to click on this, and then we're going to click on this. Now, as you can see, it doesn't complete the installation in one quick go. So we're going to need to just adjust it slightly. So to do this, we'll go back to this plan view again. And we're currently here, and we're going to look at this section view. Change this to fine mode. Is that this one? Yes, that's this one. Let me just do this. Having multiple views open or a second screen also helps a lot. So we want to move this here, and we want to line it up to there, and as you can see, that's lined up with this one, and then we can go through, connect it up, and connect it up, and we've now got our pipe work all connected up correctly. So you'll find that even when you're using this parallel pipes mode, you'll still have a few elements that you'll need to just go through and check, but you can do that when you go through and click on your analyze, show disconnects, click on pipe, and it will then give you any errors should you have them, show with the yellow warning triangles. These ones are just showing obviously these pipes aren't connected up yet. switching that back off. So just bear that in mind when you're placing these pipes in place, that you check these, and then that way you shouldn't have any problems. We can also yeah, okay. So that's it on the placement of adding ducts and pipes and creating the parallel pipes